Hey, it's Chrissy. Feeling today's conversation? Dig deeper with today's guest and hear more from all our groundbreaking guests on Audible. From bestsellers and new releases to podcasts and Audible originals, discover the next step on your journey. Go to audible.com/Chrissy on Audible. You're listening to Self-Conscious with Chrissy Teigen, an Audible original podcast. Join me as we explore the cutting edge of health, wellness, and personal growth with the world's leading experts and thinkers. From inspiring stories to actionable insights, our conversations aim to help you lead a healthier, happier, and more productive life. 4 years ago, I decided to stop drinking. It wasn't just about the hangovers or the embarrassing moments. It was about wanting to be more present, more in control of my life, and more connected to the things that truly matter. I realized that drinking wasn't serving me anymore. It was holding me back. The book that really inspired me to take this step was Quit Like a Woman by Whitaker. The powerful memoir and recovery manifesto challenged the way that we think about alcohol and addiction, especially for women. Through her raw and honest storytelling, Holly shed light on the deeply ingrained cultural norms that glorify drinking and often leave us trapped in destructive patterns. For 2 years, I didn't have a drop. I remember how proud I was when I hit a month, 6 months, and eventually a year. But then I started drinking again. There was no big dramatic moment. It hasn't really been an issue in the way that it was before. But I know deep down it still feels wrong. And if I were to listen to my inner voice, I would stop again. And that's where it all gets very complicated. But it's also the perfect segue to talk about Holly's Audible original, 30 Days to a New Relationship with Alcohol, which actually seems like it was created just for me in this very specific moment. This series isn't about counting drinks or advocating for total abstinence, but rather about diving deep into the unconscious patterns that keep us stuck in behaviors we might want to change. Over the course of 30 days, Holly guides listeners through daily meditations and actionable tips designed to help them reassess and reshape their relationship with alcohol, meeting them wherever they are on their journey. It's a continuation of her mission to empower individuals with the tools they need to live more authentic and fulfilling lives. Holly Whitaker, welcome to Self-Conscious. I loved the initial journey of being sober.
Yeah.
And it felt very big and it felt almost like exciting and fun.
Totally.
I made the choice. I just remember looking at my therapist one day and being like, I have such a wonderful, blessed life. And it kills me that I can't have an Aperol Spritz or something if we're in Italy.
Yeah.
And, John drinks and he's very mindful with it though. And it doesn't at all do to him what it does to me. But I was like, we get to do all these amazing things. Like, why can't I have a drink? So we talked about it for months. And I had this plan that I was going to have my drink and I was going to talk about it after. This is after over a year of being sober. I was sober for a year and then I got pregnant, so sober. And then we talked about it and I was telling him my plan to go back to it and how I would do it really carefully and mindfully. And
was he scared?
No, he was more happy that I was honest about it because I really don't like disappointing people. I was scared to even tell you, and I haven't even told the world yet. I haven't jumped on Instagram or anything. And I do feel like I should because I shared that journey of that.
Oh, this is such a great, yeah.
And it sucks to not be able to, well, I guess I can, but I have a really hard time disappointing people.
Yeah. And you're going to disappoint people. You haven't even said, but what are you saying? Can you say what you're saying?
Well, I'm drinking again. Even in those therapy sessions, I couldn't look at my therapist during it. I put a blanket fully over my head and I said it in the way that I had similarly said to him years ago. I did drugs. I can't look someone in the eye and say, even now, I can't look you in the eye and say that I did it or that I went back to it. That's a childhood thing. It's just really hard for me
to disappoint people, right?
Yeah.
To make people feel ashamed of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be really perfect growing up to everybody. And it's still
and so it
really
feels really shameful when you say,
shameful.
Holly, after I went out on Instagram and I told everybody that I wasn't drinking and now I'm drinking again and now you're on this podcast in my home about this other book that you're writing and I'm drinking again. I bet you felt like shit about that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But knowing that I can, and still knowing that I'm not having fun with it.
But let's stick with this part, right? So I think like it's so beautiful. It's like, thank you for saying it, and like saying it. You don't seem like you're just doing, you're doing something you did. You're just talking about something that you did, which actually, it really isn't tied to good or bad. Like, you know that, right? People that are sober aren't better than people that aren't sober. People that don't drink aren't better than people that drink. The sober version of you isn't better than the version of you that's drinking right now, or the version that was like drinking before. First thing I want to acknowledge is thank you for using this to like this discussion and like using your own natural course of like, which by the way reflects everyone else's natural course. You know that? Like, it's just not even unique at all. It's like an experience that a lot of people secretly have because they're so proud. You had this version of you that felt respectable, more respectable maybe, or like maybe more together. And now you're not that. And maybe you helped people get, like, there's all sorts of stuff that are tied into it. So I fully understand it. And I want to, like, the first thing I want to say is like, great, you're doing what, 95% of people that have a complicated relationship with alcohol do.
And it is so hard to come out about that second part, right? Like
the second part, not the first part.
Yeah, it was so exciting and so cool to me. And now I'm like, well, I messed up. Like in my mind, I messed up. I went back. And like, what am I going to say again? Like, it's not even exciting to get sober again. And like one of the things that really launched me was the excitement of it.
Totally.
And I'm going to make this big change. And now there's no like big exciting change. It's like, oh, I'll try it again.
So I think there's a couple of things here first. Like, and the shame piece is really a big piece of this, right? Because it's tied into so much else. And I've been researching shame recently, and I love this concept. It's the difference between shame is just the difference between the ideas that we have of ourselves and who we're supposed to be and what we actually are, right? And so it's this like falling short of who we think we're supposed to be. And so there's this idea that you have that you're supposed to be like picked and just never drink. Like, you made this one decision that was on the heels of a very different relationship with alcohol and a very different version of you. And like having come out, I know a little bit of your story from Instagram. I don't know a ton, but I do know that you've just been through something horrible. And that this was like, this was a real thing that you experienced and a real true healing. And no one ever said, now you've signed your name in blood here and you can never change your mind. And that you'll be failing this commitment you made, 5 years ago? When you inevitably evolve and become a different person with like a different set of coping mechanisms. There's so much different in your life than there was the first time you quit. And so you are expecting this like pop of, I need to catch that long wind to come back to it. I think that a lot of times we look at that, and we did, especially if we're people that are pleasers and like we're people that love to do really good and we hate messing up, we can look to that and we can be like, that was the perfect event, right? And I need to go back to that to recreate it. And actually, that was a totally different version of you. You're at a different place now. You're a different person now. And you have to meet this. You can't try and meet it with a plan from 5 years ago, right? It can't be enough that you just hate alcohol. It can't be enough that you just don't like it, right? Because if it was enough, then you wouldn't be asking the questions that you're asking or having the feelings that you're feeling. So, I mean, like, so what do you want to do? Like, do you know?
I still don't know. I'm in this, like, I don't even know if I'm ready to quit again or if all I know for sure is it makes me feel like shit.
Okay.
And I hate the taste of it. It ruins my meals. The shame of like, the next day, like, what did I say? What did I do? That used to be enough because I was like, when I got rid of that feeling, it actually took me like, even after I got sober, it took me like 3 months to even realize that, oh no, I wasn't drunk last night. Like I kept like every time and it was also really interesting that I still like was myself. Like when I was sober, like I still made faux pas with big celebrities or something and I'd be so embarrassed about, but those obviously were like so much less frequent. And it was weird to even come to terms with that feeling that like, oh no, I wasn't drinking last night. I'm okay. I didn't do anything dumb.
Yeah.
That took me a long time to realize. But yeah, just not having that feeling after waking up of shame. It's really,
I know, it's
shame is the big word.
Shame is the big word. Yeah, for sure.
And
so do you, I guess here's the question. Is shame the bigger problem than the drinking right now?
Probably, yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alcohol sucks, man.
It really does. And also it's everywhere.
It's so everywhere, and it's so tied to what we
do.
The
best ideas of our lives, right? Like the best moments.
Like I just have, like pretty crippling anxiety. And so when we were going out to big events and stuff and seeing all these cute moments that people think are so funny, all these memes of me passed out at the Oscars, alcohol, making my cry face when John won a Golden Globe, drunk, wasted. And I drank a lot for those events. I realized like it was because it was in a room full of people I didn't.
Well, so this gets me to where I want to go to. So I think so there's two things with this, right? I think the first is like, it feels like right now your bigger issue is dealing with the shame, right? And the shame probably makes you want to drink, or it makes it harder to navigate the clear, direct relationship with it, right? And so I think like you can give yourself a little pass here and be like, I don't have to solve alcohol today, right? But maybe I'm going to look over here at how shame is showing up and I don't know, question that and work with that. I think that's a really big piece. And I think that that's a really big growth up. We're not trying to be perfect. You're not trying to achieve sainthood. But a lot of it gets conflated with that, right? Right now, you're in this like classic bind of you did something that was really important for your health and your well-being and a lot of other people's health and well-being. My friend Greta always says that I enacted a mass healing. You enacted a mass healing by sharing my work and sharing your story. You really did. You changed a lot of people's lives by that. And I know because I get a lot of their letters and people still come up to me and say, I found your book because of Chrissy Teigen, 500,000 copies have been sold. And you've saved a lot of lives, right? And so I think there's this really big, beautiful thing that you did, right? And you also made these really honest and raw choices and were very vulnerable with the public. And that's just such a beautiful thing. You were very generous with your story, right? And you don't owe anything to that.
I do feel like I do owe it to people too.
What do you think you owe them?
I will have a glass of wine at a restaurant and I'll look around and I'll see people. In my mind, they're like, oh, she's drinking again.
Yeah, they probably for sure are.
Yeah. Take my team out to dinner or something. They'll be like, oh, miss, we have like a mocktail list for you. And I look at them.
Oh my God.
And when I look at them, because they've heard, and I look at them and I say, oh no, I'm drinking again. It's like a gut punch to
you
myself.
have to fucking disappoint the people that are at the restaurants. Oh,
yeah.
That's so much pressure.
I think it will help for this to come out and for me to admit to this. Because right now it's just all on me. And it just feels like this big burden on me and this big secret. Nothing has ever gone right in my life if I weren't fully transparent with people about something. And I know that people are going to be really kind about it and they will extend to me a lot of grace because this is how it works, right? There's like ebbs and flows and yeah, it's my big shameful secret.
It is your big shameful secret. But I also want to draw this back to this is about you.
But I was able to quit when it wasn't about me. That's the problem.
But it has to be eventually about you.
I know. It's almost like I have to psych myself into think it's for something else again.
Or it's for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd rather do it for them than me, which is a whole nother therapy session.
Totally.
I mean, I have like a sobriety app that still is
taunting you with the days
that are not, that don't exist.
Who gives a shit, right?
You've done 4 years. Congratulations. It launches confetti.
And your heart is just broken because you're not measuring up to
and
that.
I let it keep going. I haven't deleted it. I'm like, why don't I delete it? I think like I'm punishing myself. And I think that when I look at it, I'm like, hopefully like I'll get mad enough to stop again maybe. It'll congratulate me and it'll say like, how did you do today? And you're supposed to check in with it. And I just swipe up and let it say this stuff to me. And it's so frustrating. And I can't believe I even let it do this to me all the time. But I'm hoping that deep down that it'll just finally get to me and I'll break and I'll be like, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go sober again. But then I also know that like, if I get sober again, it's probably not going to be my last drink. I can see that I'll go sober again. Yeah, maybe for a year. I guess I haven't really come to terms with, am I ready to have the last drink of my life?
And you might not ever. And I guess my question to you is, can you tell me what is wrong with what your approach is right now?
I just know that I hate alcohol.
Okay, great.
It makes me feel like shit.
Okay, great.
I hate the taste of it.
Yeah. There's all sorts of crap about alcohol. It's terrible. Yeah. I hate it too.
On like the simple level, I'm like, that should be enough.
You're saying it should be enough, but the reality of the situation is, right, it's not enough. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right?
Yeah, I know. Okay. I'm glad we addressed the elephant in the room about my drinking. Let's talk about your Audible original. What do you hope listeners will get from completing the 30-day journey?
I think that, you know, a lot of the stuff that we've talked about is something far off in the future, like a fixing thing, and then you'll be good, you know? And so much about this is participation and only participation, and just the act of actually engaging with something that's terrifying. Right now, if you picked this up and you being in the situation that you're in actually would be perfect, right? And you just start listening to it. All I want people to get out of it is to, like, you probably feel a little bit better having had this conversation, yeah? That's what I want people to get out of it. I want them to feel a little bit better, because a lot of our hell comes from sitting alone with our thoughts, and a lot of our goodness comes from sitting with the heavy stuff or looking at it and sorting through it. And it feels so much better once we do that, right? And so for me, people are going to be changed. Like, it's a guide that will change your behavior, change your outlook in the same way, I think, when you engage with anything. People will get a lot of by just participating in and not having to actually achieve something at the end to prove that they've done it right.
In the 30-day journey, will people still be drinking?
I don't care. The point of it is not to police people's behavior around drinking. We have so much of that going on already. It is really, like I said, I hope people just use it. It is written in a way. I have used stays and affirmations like this for years with people to help them change their behavior. And it is one of those things where it literally is like, we're going to talk about everything else but the shitty thing, you know? So you get to actually engage and experience some kind of shift and change, but it's not the grueling, you know, the scary, crappy stuff.
You remind me of my therapist when I first actually told him that I was drinking again, and I expected this big, huge reaction, I expected him to be so bummed out and so mad at me. And he was just like, I don't care.
Okay. Well, I mean, people, imagine, I have a lot of friends that go in and out, or I just have had so many people break to me over the years that they're drinking again. And I'm like, I love you so much. And I actually now even tell people, hey, if you read my book and you change your relationship with alcohol, just know I don't care. I really care about your well-being, and I hope that you get something about this, but I don't give a shit whether or not you drink or don't. It's not up to me, buddy, you know? So, yeah. So you're drinking again. That's a fact.
Each day of the 30-day guide is anchored with a specific affirmation. What was your guiding principle in choosing them?
Yeah, for 10 years, I've been writing affirmations and essays for people. Narrative is really important, hearing someone else's story, right? Along with some kind of easy thought that you can repeat throughout the day, an affirmation. You know what an affirmation? Have you used affirmations before?
I love doing it when I do it.
Totally. Yeah. So you listen, you do it while you listen in this case, right? But the point is, for years, I have been doing this and working. The affirmations that I've chosen, again, it goes back to a lot of what we've been talking about, which is we don't have to just talk about the alcohol and the consumption. We're going to talk about all this other stuff that goes into why we use certain coping mechanisms, right? Rather than just talking about the coping mechanism. And so all of these from this. Some of them are old, some of them are new, but they're really written in a way to kind of create a journey. You know, the first affirmation is, I'm willing to start before I'm ready. And we talk about the importance of starting things before we feel like we're ready, right? But maybe not too soon, right? But starting before we're ready. So that gets us into it. And then we start moving through just really key and core concepts about trusting the process, seeing challenges as, not obstacles, but just the path that you're on. But really, each of the affirmations are built in order to kind of day over day give the listener a chance to, I think there's a ton of repetition involved, gives them a chance to go out into the world, practice the affirmations, and also be changed by them, and then come back the next day and find something that's maybe complementary to what they were practicing the day before or furthers that lesson. So they're built on each other, right? And so One of them might be, how we recover is no one else's business. So that's one of them. And it's, all about like what other people's opinions are of the substances or whatever it is that I'm doing with my body is like, it's not their business, right? It's this reclamation. Well, what does that have to do? It has to do with boundaries. So the next day we stay on boundaries and we work with what other kind of boundaries we can extend into. And again, this is not about drinking, how much you're putting into your body. It's about all the stuff that kind of goes around that.
For me, one of the most interesting parts of the Audible original is day 9, which begins with the mantra that our behaviors make sense. Can you unpack what that means and that our addictions are actually useful?
People do things because they benefit them. And what I've heard from you so far is you've said that it turns it down, it makes it softer just a little bit, makes your life easier. That's lovely, right? I'm assuming there are many, many different things that you could come up with that are the reasons that you're using alcohol or the reasons that you haven't made the change that you think you're supposed to change, right? But all of these things start to kind of normalize and help us to actually get in touch with, well, it does this for me. It helps with my social anxiety when I'm in a crazy situation. Maybe it helps you unwind. Maybe it helps you be more, when you have to be on. You have to be on. You have to perform, all the time. So it helps you live your life. There's things about it that are very beneficial to you. And we discount that because a lot of times we think, well, that's just reinforcing it and making it okay. And like, it is okay. You're using this. And when you look at it, like when we like, kind of can inhabit like our adult self in this. We're not just like coming from this place of like, oh shit, I need to fix this. But like, well, I'm curious. Why am I doing that? What does it do for me? It does these things. Do I want to get it from this source? Is alcohol the source I want to be providing this? Or could I get this? Or maybe could I do some different things to change how, anxious I get before? Could I do something to offset the anxiety, right? So you understand all the reasons you're using it. You decide, is this the tool I want to use? Because there's also negative things that are associated with it. And how else might I achieve turning the volume down? And turning the volume down might be, getting deep with some of the shame stuff and like casting it off.
Discuss with me the importance of self-compassion in this process.
I was just talking about self-compassion with my friend this morning because I've been really, really fucking hard on myself recently.
We can so easily extend it to others. Like, it's so clear to me that
I have so much compassion for people being fucked up, but not for myself. It's very hard for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. But anyway, I feel like self-compassion is one of these things we are just so mean to ourselves. What you just told me is really mean. It's just, we're so fucking mean to ourselves. And I feel like not everything is, always a thing to be working on. I'm really tired of always being in process. I'm sure you are too. And I don't want to just be a thing that I'm always working on. But I feel like self-compassion is one of those things that like, I don't think I'm ever going to get it, And I think that's okay. And I think that the path to really giving ourselves, I see you too. I see how you love people. And you're actually like, you are a very generous, inclusive, forgiving person. That's your spirit. You love people, right? It is. It's really hard to give to ourselves. And I think like for people like us, I think a lot of people end up, with addictions that are very sensitive people.
So tell me what a sloth break is and why is it important that we take them?
That's such a good question. Thanks for asking. For me, like it goes back to like a really good example is back when I was drinking, I would love hangover days because I would just stay in bed, get stoned, eat all the food, like just fuck off all weekend. And I am a type A, always doing, the only time I ever gave myself a break was when I was like self-induced sickness. And I missed hangovers because of that. One of the hardest things that you can tell someone to do. So I've built this into a lot of the processes I've done with clients for years of just like in the middle of our process, we just completely check out. We take a day where we do nothing. You really try to go hardcore and like maybe not even brush your teeth and stay like it's just total sloth, right? Like just allowing yourself to completely let your nervous system replenish, right?
And I love that you give permission to people to do that because some of us need permission.
You need permission and you need someone sometimes to really like, I work one-on-one with clients sometimes and I'm just like, you really have to like call in sick to work and you really have to stay in bed all day. Like you really have to do that,
Can't even fathom it. I'm so excited for my sloth break. Let's talk about this idea of being willing to disappoint people. this is a big one for me. You say that what I think I owe to people and what I actually owe to people are two different things. Explain to me what this means, as well as the importance of actually disappointing people.
Yeah. I mean, I think like kind of just off of what I was just saying about the impossibility of living today, right? It's impossible. There's no way, right? That we are going to be people that don't disappoint people and also have full lives, right? I think like I was just talking about this because the affirmation is I'm willing to disappoint people. And it really, like I just said, like I don't disappoint myself, I disappoint other people, right? Not as I'm a really good friend and community member, but I mean in this sense of like in those situations where you're making a choice that's totally letting you down and you're making it to not disappoint someone. We naturally let people down by drinking again, by not living up to someone's standards, by not returning a phone call, by not remembering a birthday, by not showing up in the way we, by like you could do everything right and you're still going to disappoint people, right? It comes back to the self-compassion piece. Disappointing other people can sometimes be a great act, like allowing ourselves to disappoint other people and not disappointing ourselves and being able to just live with that, right? It's being an adult is living with the fact that people are disappointed with you, right? But also the self-compassion piece is, I don't know, not feeling disappointed, even though it hurts a little to disappoint someone, not feeling disappointed in yourself,
Not having it weigh you down for days on end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine. One day we'll get there. You discuss how practicing gratitude, even for the shitty things, can be really powerful. How so?
This is something that comes from Melody Beattie's work. She's the lady that wrote the codependency book, Codependency No More. Her practice of gratitude, because gratitude's pretty hard for me, right? Like I can't I'm not just a gratitude list maker. My life hasn't been changed by gratitude in this grand way that like I feel. So anyway, I have a complicated relationship to it, but I also know it works, right? And Melody Beattie came up with this process of you're writing out a gratitude list every night, but you're not writing out, kittens and blueberries and, baths. You're also like that I'm that I'm a raging bulimic and I haven't gotten help yet, that I cheated on my husband and like, he's leaving me and whatever it is, you're writing down like the real shit. Of stuff you're not grateful for, stuff you wish was not happening. And Melody Beattie draws a distinction, right? I believe she lost a son, right? And she is very clear that, like, it's not about being great. Like, it's not that bullshit, be grateful for everything. Yeah. You're not, I'm grateful someone got hurt, right? But you're using it as a way to bring in the stuff you really don't want to be facing because you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. Like the best things turn into the worst things. Yeah. So often the worst things turn into the best things and we don't know, but we concretize so hard.
Yeah. And I'm like absolutely a better person for the terrible things that have happened to me. Yeah. Like, would I be thankful? Like, oh, so grateful I lost my baby. Like, no, of course. But my God, my life has changed for the better. Dramatically. The levels of empathy I have for people, like the different treatments and programs that I've gotten to go through with like mental health wise, and the way I think and operate and the way I move is so vastly different. And that I would never want it to happen again, but I cannot see myself having survived being the same person that I was before all this.
Yeah, I know. So I think like for me, I try and incorporate into my life, like when I do gratitude lists, and I actually do this practice a lot, I just write a list out and it's just like all the things I love. And it's also like, and when I said that thing the other day to that woman and, just the stuff that you really rake yourselves over the coals or that you feel so bad about or so cringy about, you just are like, you're blessing it, because that's in there too. You're here today because of that stuff too.
And now for the toolkit. Each episode, our guests distill their expertise into practical and actionable insights. Today, Holly Whitaker shares an essential breathing exercise for managing a craving.
So I'm going to lead you through an exercise that's going to help you manage a craving. This is actually a breath that I learned in my own Kundalini training. It's called Sitali breath, and it's something that is really easy to access. And actually for me, I really, really need to work with my nervous system and grounding. This is a really, it's a yummy breath. How I experience it is basically it makes my body feel heavier. Mm-hmm. It makes me want to yawn. It kicks off my parasympathetic nervous system. I think all breathing does it, all intentional breathing does. But this specifically is a breath that I use to essentially trigger the same kind of release that I get if I am using something to take the edge off, right? And so you're going to use this when you are having that sense of feeling like I might punch my fist through a window if I don't get it, whatever it is. That strong sense of I need to turn it off now.
Even the acknowledgement that you have a craving is so big, because I find so often that I don't acknowledge that time. It's like I want a drink and I'm having that drink.
Totally, you don't. And that pause, that space is so big. It's so big. It is, because it gives you a second to actually make a choice.
Yes.
Even if the choice is the same one you were going to make automatically. Yes. Yeah. And so this is part of that. You can use this as a way to access that space. This could be I have a craving, I use this breath, and then I access my space. So it could just be a thing that you use. But it's also something that when you're in a craving and you just need yourself to kind of move through to the other side, this is a really good tool to use. It's also incredibly good to use before parties. So it's something that I used before I got here today. And I also use it when I'm upregulated. So we're going to start. This one is something that I set a timer, and sometimes I'll do it for 1 minute to 3 minutes. So you don't have to get your posture right or anything. You do want to try and allow yourself so that you have access to your diaphragm. You don't want to be slouched over or slumped. You're just trying to basically maybe sit as much as you can on your sits bones or your butt to kind of get that erect spine. So you just have more room in your rib cage. But you don't have to get this part right. Don't worry about this. But that's just one little tip that could make you access breath better. I like to pull my chin in. I like to kind of straighten my neck out, just so I am signaling to myself that I am here. I'm a rod. I'm ready. And then you're sucking air in through your lips. So it's just like that. So, yep. So you got it. You're holding a piece of paper through your lips, and now you're going to breathe in. And then you're going to exhale out through the nose.
Do you suck it in through the lips?
Through the lips, down so you're going to breathe the breath in. You got it. Through to the stomach, and then out the nose. And a lot of times you'll feel this need to yawn because your energy shifts so much by doing this breath. So you've just done 5 rounds. Maybe do one more. Again, it's just pulling the air in through pursed lips, down the back of the throat, into the belly, and then breathing out through the nose. So how do you feel?
Good. That feels way better than the normal breathing. I find myself very shaky in the meditation type breathing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm breathing and here's me inhaling and here's me. But I like that. It's more of
it's really
a job.
Subtle, and it's the way the breath is coming in. It's a cooling breath.
Yeah.
And it's the way you're bringing it, drawing it over the tongue. Your body receives it as this
it's
loosener.
Different. It's very activating.
Yeah.
Even my eyes are blurry.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And so this is what I use to typically quell my anxiety and ground my body.
Holly Whitaker, I want to thank you so much for being here and joining me on Self-Conscious. It's such an honor to have you in my home here in person when you've truly done so much for me and so many people out there.
Thank you.
Holly Whitaker's 30 Days to a New Relationship with Alcohol is available on Audible. Until then, tune in, turn on, and feel better. This is Chrissy Teigen, and you've been listening to Self-Conscious, an Audible original podcast. This has been an Audible original, produced by Audible and Huntley Productions. Hosted by Chrissy Teigen, executive producer for Huntley Productions, Chrissy Teigen. Executive producer for Audible, Stacey Creamer. Recorded and engineered by Alex Sky. Mixed and mastered by Jeremiah Zimmerman. Edited by Lisa Orkin. Head of Creative Development at Audible, Kate Navin. Chief Content Officer, Rachel Giazza. Copyright 2024 by Audible Originals, LLC. Sound recording copyright 2024 by Audible Originals, LLC.